welcome to CVTV News, your only TV news show for the Stafford, Spotsylvania, and Fredericksburg area. I'm David Kerr.
And I'm Sharon Danielson, filling in for Dieter Haven while she is on an extended assignment. We're glad that you could join us today.
So just what are the Virginia voters thinking about the issues, and what are their opinions? That's what a recent poll conducted by the Wason Center for Public Policy at Christopher Newport University tried to find out. Specifically, the pollsters wanted to know what voters were thinking about some of the hottest issues that will be discussed in this week's opening session of the Virginia General Assembly. Wason Center Director Quentin Kidd said in a news release that the Wason Center survey suggests there's a pent-up demand among voters for a lot of the Democratic Party's policy agenda. Democrats, as you might remember, won a majority in both the House and Senate last year. Some of the strongest reactions concern guns.
Of course.
Voters strongly support requiring background checks on all gun sales by a margin of 86 to 13%, and passing a red flag law that allows a court to remove guns from someone who may harm themselves or someone else by a margin of 73 to 23%. A smaller majority, 54 to 44%, support banning assault-style weapons altogether. Other questions showed some issues had far wider support than many might have expected. Voters strongly backed the Equal Rights Amendments, that's the ERA, by a margin of 80 to 13%. Voters strongly support decriminalizing possession of small amounts of marijuana, 83 to 14%. And respondents also showed support for raising the minimum wage by a margin of 72 to 28%. When it came to voter registration, the poll showed voters supporting automatic voter registration by a margin of 64 to 31%, and no excuse absentee voting by a margin of 74 to 23%. Voters also support passage of redistricting reform, the constitutional amendment, by 70 to 15%. On the hot button issue of how to handle Confederate monuments, a majority, 51 to 41%, opposed giving localities authority to remove or alter Confederate monuments.
Well, that's interesting. But all right. When Chase, Bank of America, or any major bank you do business with emails you to warn of a fraud alert to your account or some other kind of problem, you pay attention.
Yes, of course.
But be careful. These can be very dangerous. Scammers have turned this sort of thing into an art. Most people think they can easily recognize these scams. Sometimes, but other times, they're a lot harder to recognize than you might think. Most of them often look and feel real. So much so that it is a common and often very successful technique criminals use for stealing your digital identity. The first thing to remember is that many of these email scams, often rather innocuous looking, are serious bad news. One click on the email, even if it's a negative reply, and the hackers can take control of our digital lives. That's what happened to Hillary Clinton's campaign manager back in 2016. Campaign manager John Podesta got a bogus email that looked like it was from Google, asking him to update his credentials in what's called a spear phishing attack. One click, and WikiLeaks got access to all of the campaign's emails.
Look at all the trouble that caused.
Yep. It was so easy. So what you can do to look for to keep from falling prey to this kind of attack, here are some helpful hints. The return or source email is a good clue. A recent phony Chase Bank email had a return address of admin@VAGARO. That is simply not the way Chase Bank or any bank would sign an email. That's your first giveaway. Second, if your bank or any financial institution you regularly do business with says, "Dear customer," they're probably not real. Banks in particular, usually if not always, address their customers by name. Then there is the email that, again, looks real and asks if the changes they're listing are phony. A fraudulent email could say, "Do you recognize these charges? We need you to verify these before you can use your card." And what you will see will be some outlandishly strange charge that you wouldn't have possibly made. That, again, is designed to prompt you to push the yes or no button. So this malicious program can get to work. The bottom line is that if you have the slightest doubt about an email, ignore it. Don't click on it and don't respond to it. Rather, go to your regular bank website and check for yourself or call the bank. It's easier and can help you avoid a world of troubles.
Well, speaking about a world of trouble,
Yes.
we got another warning. It's 2020. Not only do we have to break the habit of writing 2019 when we really mean 2020, but the dawn of a new decade also creates a unique opportunity for scammers.
Of course.
Yeah, it doesn't always. This according to Ira Reingold, Executive Director for the National Association of Consumer Advocates. How exactly will this work, you ask? When the year 2020 is abbreviated on official forms and documents, those looking to exploit unsuspecting people can easily manipulate these numbers and leave people potentially vulnerable to fraud. For example, a document dated 1/4/20 can easily be changed to 1/4/2021 by adding 2 numbers at the end. There are several ways that this could pose a problem. Reingold cited the example of a stale check or one that was written more than 6 months or so ago. If you have an old check lying around that's dated 1/4/20 and someone finds it, they could add 21 to the end of the date and voila, the check is no longer stale. They can use it. Or let's say you sign a credit contract, an agreement between a borrower and a lender, and date it 1/4/20. Say you then miss a month or two of payments, and the lender goes to collect the debt that's owed. According to Reingold, they could theoretically add 19 to the end of the date and argue that you owe more than a year's worth of payments. We could go on, but far be it from us to give these scammers out there any more bright ideas.
Yeah, we don't
Just
need to do
be
that.
careful.
We don't need to do that.
And now a word from our sponsors.